We all dream of that perfect escape, don't we? The pristine beaches, the mountain air, the quiet solitude of a secluded cabin. That breathtaking view, that serene silence. Sometimes, it's just the calm before the storm. What if the paradise you envision slowly morphed into a waking nightmare? A place where relaxation gives way to dread, and the only souvenir you bring home is pure, unadulterated terror. Tonight, we unpack 3 true tales where idyllic getaways turn sinister, proving that sometimes, the most dangerous journeys are the ones we take to escape. Our first story takes us deep into the heart of an ancient forest, where a young couple, Liam and Chloe, sought solace in a charming, secluded cabin. They'd booked it online, seduced by pictures of a crackling fireplace and breathtaking views. For the first few days, it was everything they'd hoped for: long hikes, cozy evenings, and the kind of silence only untouched nature can provide. But as the sun dipped below the horizon each night, the silence grew heavier. It started subtly, a faint scratching sound from the attic, which they dismissed as rodents. Then, late one evening, a distinct thump directly above their bedroom. Liam, ever the rational one, checked. Nothing. Just dust and cobwebs. The next night, the sounds escalated. It wasn't just scratching anymore, it was a rhythmic tapping against the bedroom window, persistent and unnerving. When Liam cautiously peered through the blinds, he saw nothing but the dense, dark woods reflecting back at him. Chloe began to feel a prickling sensation on her skin, a feeling of being watched, even within the confines of their supposedly safe cabin. One morning, they awoke to find the front door, which Liam swore he had triple locked, ajar. The scent of damp earth and something acrid hung faintly in the air. Nothing was missing, but the unsettling feeling intensified. Chloe remembered a faint, almost imperceptible shadow she'd caught out of the corner of her eye through the kitchen window, just past midnight. It was too tall, too still, to be an animal. That evening, as darkness fell, the whispers began. Soft, indistinct murmurings from just outside the cabin walls, as if someone were speaking in hushed tones, just beyond earshot. The couple huddled together, their hearts pounding in unison. The scratching, the tapping, the open door, it all pointed to one terrifying conclusion: they weren't alone. And whatever was out there, in the whispering pines, was no longer content to stay outside. They spent the rest of the night barricaded in their bedroom, listening to what sounded unmistakably like footsteps slowly circling the cabin, waiting for morning to break. They left at first light, never looking back, the serene silence of the woods now a chilling echo of their terrifying ordeal. A remote cabin in the woods is one thing, but what if the danger isn't hidden in the woods, but walking right beside you? What if the thrill of exploring a new city comes with a terrifying shadow? Sarah, a seasoned solo traveler, arrived in a vibrant, ancient city, eager to immerse herself in its rich culture. She loved the freedom of charting her own course, meeting new people, and embracing the unknown. But this trip, something felt off. It began subtly. A feeling of eyes on her back as she navigated crowded souks. A familiar face in a restaurant window she swore she'd passed blocks ago. She dismissed it as travel paranoia, the natural jitters of being in an unfamiliar land. Then, things escalated. She'd meticulously planned her itinerary, jotting down every museum visit, every cafe, every bus route in a small notebook. One evening, back in her hotel room, she found the notebook slightly out of place, the page with her plans for the next day folded down, despite her certainty she'd left it open to a different page. She brushed it off as her own forgetfulness. The next day, a local vendor at a spice market greeted her by name, asking if she'd enjoyed the cafe she'd visited the previous afternoon, a cafe not listed in any guidebook, only in her private notes. A chill ran down her spine. Later, a street performer, while performing a trick, casually mentioned a landmark she was planning to visit, as if confirming her next move. Each incident, innocuous on its own, became a terrifying puzzle piece. The undeniable evidence came in the form of a photograph. She was browsing through her phone, reviewing pictures from a scenic overlook. In the background of one photo, far behind her, partially obscured by a tree, was the same man she'd seen multiple times throughout the city, always in the distance, always looking in her direction. He wasn't just a coincidence, he was a constant, unnerving presence. He knew her name, her itinerary, her movements. He was her unseen companion, a persistent shadow on her journey, turning her dream vacation into a desperate, silent flight for safety. She cut her trip short, catching the next flight home, the vibrant city now a landscape of fear. Sometimes, the memories you make aren't the ones you wanted. And sometimes, the souvenirs you bring home bring something else with them. The Miller family, parents Mark and Susan, and their 2 young children, Emily and Josh, embarked on their dream vacation to a small, exotic island known for its rich history and vibrant markets. On their last day, Susan, captivated by a small, intricately carved wooden figurine of a tribal guardian spirit, bought it from a kindly old woman in a bustling market. The woman had smiled, a strange glint in her eye, and mumbled something in her native tongue that Susan couldn't quite understand. Back home, the figurine sat proudly on their mantelpiece, a reminder of their beautiful trip. But soon, strange things began to happen. Emily, who had been a peaceful sleeper, started waking up screaming, terrified of the man in the corner who just stood and watched. Josh's toys would be found in different rooms, sometimes arranged in odd patterns, despite no one touching them. Then, the occurrences grew more active. Doors would creak open and shut on their own. Lights would flicker erratically, even after Mark checked the wiring. One afternoon, Susan was alone in the living room when the figurine on the mantelpiece inexplicably toppled over, landing on the rug with a soft thud. There was no draft, no tremor. The breaking point came late one night. Mark and Susan were jolted awake by a chilling, guttural whisper coming from downstairs. It wasn't English, nor any language they recognized, but it was unmistakably hostile. They crept down, hearts pounding, to find the living room cold, and the wooden figurine now sitting perfectly upright on the coffee table, facing the door, its carved eyes seeming to gleam in the dim light. Behind it, faintly etched into the wooden table, was a symbol they had seen only once before, drawn in dust on an ancient temple wall during their island vacation. The family quickly realized the souvenir wasn't just a harmless trinket, it was a conduit, a vessel that had carried something malevolent back into their lives. They disposed of the figurine in the most remote place they could find, hoping to sever the connection, but the memory of that watchful guardian spirit, and the chill it brought, still lingers in their home, a terrifying reminder of the day paradise followed them home. Vacations are meant to be a break from reality, a chance to relax and explore. But as these stories show, sometimes, the very act of stepping into the unknown leaves us vulnerable to horrors we never anticipated. Whether it's the deep woods, a foreign city, or even a seemingly innocent souvenir, peril can lurk where we least expect it. Have you ever experienced a vacation gone wrong? A strange encounter that turned your trip into a nightmare? Share your chilling travel stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear them, and perhaps feature them in a future episode. If you survived these tales, hit that like button, subscribe for more true horror, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into fear. Next time, we log on to fear and discover the true terror of the digital world. Until then, travel safe. If you dare.